Hey, what's up, guys? This is Andrew Smersek with Combat Training. Today we're going to do a quick video on gun stuff that I've broken. Now, you want to buy the highest quality stuff you can so it won't break and it will be reliable and high quality and all that. But that being said, sometimes you can break that stuff too. If you try hard enough, you can break anything. So I got a bunch of stuff on the table here that I'm going to go through with you and talk about how it broke. And what's happening now, and maybe some lessons along the way. So first off, let's talk about some sights. So the Glock plastic sights will break, okay? And everyone says this, and then some people are like, no, they're fine, and oh, if you replace your sights, then they're going to use it against you in court and whatnot. Well, you know, you have to get to court first, so I want high-quality stuff that will make me at least survive the fight. Now, one of those things is replace your damn plastic sights, okay? They are junk. Yes, you can hit the target with them, but as soon as you can, replace them. That's what replacing the sights is the only real thing I do to my Glocks. I put a moon cut on them also, but that's another discussion. So, how this broke. I had a class going on, and a student, when this gun was brand new, like I think the first day it was getting shot, had a stuck cartridge. So fire and the slide doesn't cycle back, and it's a failure to extract. So the brass is still stuck in here, and the slide is locked up. So you go to tap, can't rack it, right? Now, one way you can break it open and extract that round out is grip the slide right here, take the web of your hand back here, break it open, and then you'll need to tap rack because you'll probably not break it open enough to actually cycle the gun. Reliably, it's probably not going to happen. So just tap rack after you do that. One-handed way you can do it, if you have metal sights, is you can take and line up the top of the slide on a ledge and hit that rear sight on that ledge, and that can break it open. And that can extract that round out of the chamber. So I wanted to try it with the plastic sights because I had another gun that day anyways, and I want to send this gun off to get milled for a red dot. So I tried it, lined it up, and clink, broke the rear sight off, and I don't think that even extracted the round out. So I ended up having to do that anyways afterwards to clear the malfunction. But pretty cool thing is I ended up taking this gun and giving the student my gun, and I shot all the rest of the demos with the class that day with just a front sight, and it did fine. So if you do break your rear sight in a fight, you'll be okay. I was even thinking about doing a video with that where I just shoot that for a bunch of drills. Do you guys want to see that? Let me know. Next sight I broke, and this was before that actually, was a Tritium HD XR front sight. The Tritium broke. Now, a couple things happened. First off, brought two of my Glocks to a gun store to get the same set of sights installed on both. The Tritium HD XR, so it's the thinner front sight and the U-notch rear. Now, I do not like these sights anymore, so I'll probably end up changing them out on these guns too. The ones I do like are the big dots for iron sights. I really like those in a straight, a regular notch in post where it's not a U in the back, but it's right angles. That's fine too, but I do really like the big dots. I have videos on that. But when I got these installed, I got two different guns. One of them, the sights were just a little bit off to the right in the rear, and the other just a little bit off to the left in the rear. So basically, I got two guns, one shooting off to the left, the other shooting off to the right, and neither of them are zeroed. So if you're switching between those guns, it gets very frustrating. Anyways, learning experience for me. If you do have one guy that can install your sights, that's fine, but really you should just do them yourself. If you're in Florida, go to Cabra Arms. Cody actually does a good job because I've vomited my frustrations onto him, and now I send my students, I'm like, hey, if you want, just buy your sights and gun from him, he'll install them for you. But anyways, that was one issue. The other issue is when I broke the front sight, the Tritium in it, I don't even know really how it happened. Now, the sight did come loose, and I do know why that happened, is because I told the gunsmith, I was like, hey, pretty sure you should be putting Loctite on that. And he looked at me like I was stupid. Kind of come back 2 weeks later, and get the sight reinstalled because it came loose on it. Then the tritium broke. I don't know how that happened. If you are using solvents on your gun, I'm pretty sure that can do it because I broke years ago the factory SIG sights on a 320. I broke the tritium on the front sight with that. And at that time, I was using solvents to clean my guns. Now I just use regular oil, CLP. Kentuckiana Gunworks we've been doing business with him. And so now I'm using his stuff. That I haven't had an issue with. But anyways, I called Trigicon and they hooked me up with a new front sight. No big deal. So Trigicon was good to go with that. Now, next thing, holsters. So this is a Bravo concealment holster. Now these clips break. Okay, you see how this one's missing? It's because it broke. Now they break, but they also over time will warp and they'll go from looking like that to something more like that. Okay, now that's an issue because it can, number one, if your clip breaks, like that sucks because you'll end up drawing a holster with your gun on it. Excuse me, your gun with the holster on it. The other thing is that can snag on your shirt very easily. So I don't like clips. I think they suck. I replace everything with soft loops. Now this is a holster from Gunfire Concealment. My buddy Casey made this and it's super comfortable. And it comes with the soft loops already installed. He does a really good job. Listen to this lockup. Good. Okay. Now, moving on from that, we're going to talk about an optic. Now, I really like Holosun. This is the only Holosun I've broken so far, and it still works. Just the issue is, like I can see the dot right now. The issue is that the rubber came off. This is a 509T X2 in red. Side note, I don't see a point in a green dot. People say your eye picks up faster, yada, yada, yada. My big thing is that green, the wavelength is so much brighter than red that at night you have to use a white light to be able to see the target. So you can identify the target with ambient light, right? Reasonable ambient light, we can do that. But with that same amount of light, you can turn your dot all the way down with a green dot and you won't see your target. So go with a red one. But anyways, 509T X2, just racking the gun. The rubber ripped off. Okay, as I put my hand over, just the same when I have a red dot. Okay, because I want to keep that ejection port oriented down when I'm manipulating my gun, so that anything in the chamber will fall out. And that ended up ripping off the rubber. Holosun did say they would hook me up with a new one. I just haven't sent it off. I got some other stuff here. Now let's talk about some flashlights. All right. I've had this EDCL2-T from Surefire for a long time. I really like this light, but I went and buy it again because it goes 5 lumens and then you push it down harder and it goes to 1200 lumens. Now, myself and another guy at Tactical Responses Low Light Building Clearing, we were both having this thing happen where we shine 5 just enough to see it, and then we want to see a little bit more. We have to press a little bit harder in. I don't like that. I'd rather it just be bright as hell. Now, it's momentary only, which I do like, but I don't like the fact that it goes like 5 lumen to 1200. I'd rather just have one really bright light, and then if I want another light that's not as bright, I just carry another one. Like you get a little keychain light, $30, and you can adjust the brightness on that. But anyways, it just doesn't work anymore. I don't know why. Tried a bunch of different batteries. These are some snap rings I installed on there just to keep it from going to constant on, because sometimes it would twist on the constant on in my pocket. I took those off and I tried it without them. Still didn't work. So I'm going to contact Surefire about that. I'm sure they'll hook me up. Everyone said Surefire is great for it. Other Surefire broken. A X300. I don't know which one. It's the one with the quick release. I like this one. If it's shaky, you can put some electric tape back there. It'll be fine. Now this one still works, but I cracked the front on there. I didn't beat it on anything or anything like that. I literally just shot the fuck out of it, and it ended up breaking. So if you're gonna have a weapon mounted light, I highly recommend having two. One for fighting, one carry one, right? And then one that you go and shoot at the range. You still put that range one on a gun when you get home, but like you want to have one that you're running out mileage on, and the other one that's always good to go. Okay, because it sucks when it's like if you only had one and it broke, and now you're down to nothing. Okay. Also, if your EDC has a weapon mounted light in it, you still need a handheld because you can't just point your gun at anything you want to see, but you can point a flashlight and most stuff. Okay. But anyways, yeah, just shot the fuck out of it, and eventually that lens cracked. You can see, all that lead on there. I mean, a lot of rounds have gone through that. So, but it still works. If I still had to use it, I could. But I'm gonna send that off to Surefire too. Now, this one, man, I was really disappointed with that. This is a Powertac Huntsman weapon mounted light. Now, the beam on it is really nice. I really like it. I really like Powertac lights. This one I'm not too fond of, but we'll see. I haven't talked to them yet, but Rob over at Powertac is pretty cool. I have a feeling he'll hook me up. Honestly, my favorite light out of all the flashlights out there is still the Powertac M5G2, because it's real bright. It has a nice way to recharge it, where it's just a magnet charger that sticks onto the side. The button is hard to click on, but you can click it on if you want. And I've got that on a couple guns. I've got in the kit over there, and I'm about to mount one on my Maverick 88, and I'm hoping I break it because I've got it on a couple guns. We haven't broken one yet, but this Huntsman broke. I'm not sure. I thought it was supposed to click in the back, but this one, when I got it, it didn't click. And then I've tried different batteries in it. I've tried charging it, and it's still not working. It just stopped working, kind of like the LDC-2. So that was pretty disappointing. The other thing is I'm not crazy about this mount. Honestly, I like the M5G2 on whichever mount. I've got them on a couple different types, and we're about to throw one on the Maverick 88 using this LZ mount, and we'll see how that one holds up. But this mount right here, I've adjusted it and tightened it down, and I've had it come off of my rifle during class, so didn't like that. But they have a lifetime warranty, so they'll hook it up. Honestly, I might just try to see if I can trade for more M5G2s because I really like that light. Now, some of you who watch my channel will be familiar with the budget build AR-15 series I've got going, which is for this rifle right here. So it's a Palmetto State Armory upper and lower with the cheaper Holosun, the G2X Surefire polymer flip up rear, and air precision charging out, which I should probably mention charging out in this video too. But anyways, with that gun came with this bolt carrier group, and the gas key came loose. Okay, I don't know if you can tell, but it's got some wiggle to it. Okay, now I was teaching a class, and my student was shooting that, and it ended up getting type 1 malfunctions, quick and seven bang. So I had him tap rack it and fire a few rounds, and he had to tap rack again. I was like, okay, it's probably just because it's nasty and dirty, because with those rental guns, I let them go for a while to see where they're at, to see how dirty they can go before they start having malfunctions. But I do clean them at least every 1,000 rounds. And I was like, all right, it's probably dirty. Then it became tap rack every single shot. So it became a bolt action rifle, essentially. It'd be one shot, then click, tap rack, or dead trigger, tap rack, shoot. And I was like, all right, drink some water. I'm going to clean this thing real quick. And I'll show you how to. And then I took it apart, examined it, and yeah, the gas key was loose. So Palmetto State Armory does have an awesome warranty service too. And I've contacted them. I just never got around to actually sending it out, so I'm gonna have to restart that process for a couple things here. But now something with this too, kind of like having a fighting light and and a training light, you should probably have a fighting bolt carrier group and a training bolt carrier group. Like Jaeger was a big fan of having a spare bolt in the pistol grip of his gun. So he would swap it out before class or before shooting, and then he'd have his training bolt in his rifle. He'd shoot, do what he has to do, clean his gun, whatever, and then he would swap out with the fighting bolt, and I believe he would fire one round after that. Just watch his videos to see exactly his process. And the fighting rifle DVD on Liberty TV is great also. But that being said, maybe just have an entire bolt carrier group that you switch out. Like Air Precision has ones that have a logo on the side. You get one with a logo, and say all my logo bolt carrier groups are my fighting ones, and then the ones without are the training ones. I think there's a lot of value to that, especially because if you bought that rifle and that was set up and that was your one rifle for home defense, it would really suck if it was broken. Okay, so having something you could quickly switch out and keep it in fighting condition, that is very important. So I recommend doing that, having a spare one for your fighting rifle. I mean, that being said, it gets expensive if you have a bunch of guns, but you've got this rifle and this shotgun and this pistol, those are your go-to guns. Probably should have that for those. Even with your pistols, having an exact replica set up for that pistol. Even some guys, they have the exact same holster and sights totally set up on the pistol. So when they go to the range, they take this gun off and then take this gun and put it on, and then they shoot everything with this gun. Now, if you do that too, shoot a good 1,000, 2,000 rounds with that gun to see that's actually reliable. Because I've had a couple Glocks that the first 1,000 rounds I got several malfunctions out of. I got one that I was going to have be my next go-to fighting pistol, my carry pistol, because I've got more mileage on this one. But the first 1,000 rounds, I got 10 malfunctions with it. Some of them were magazine related, but then some of them I was like, nah, dude, that gun just isn't wore in properly yet where it's actually functioning right. Now, probably 1,500 rounds after that, now it's running just fine. So I'm getting close to that point where I'm comfortable switching it out. Now, other thing, charging handles, right? I mentioned it just because I saw this one. Now, this has a Aero Precision breacher charging handle, I think. I've broken a couple different charging handles, and then buttstocks and buffer tubes too. Specifically, mortaring the rifle. If you overbend the cartridge to demo that, you're going to probably end up breaking something. That's why when I show students, I'm like, hey, I'm going to have you do this, but probably just don't even practice this at home because you'll end up breaking something. But anyways, broken the buttstock in the Marine Corps doing that, buffer tube after that, and then a couple charging handles. They bend over time. The reason is the mil-spec charging handle is not the 70-75 grade steel like this one is. So it's a lighter steel, and if you're racking it, especially if you rack it like this, hooking on the side, not like this. I don't do this. I do it like this, right? That ends up pulling it more to the side as you rack it, trying to get the camera right, because you're only on one side of it, right? So that will, over time, bend the charging handle ever so slightly. So if you do have the standard mil-spec charging handle, swap it out for one that's made of 70-75 steel. You can get one that looks just like the mil-spec for $20-25 from Air Precision, or upgrade to an ambidextrous one. And I do recommend the ambidextrous one. That's a good thing to swap out on the AR-15s. Last thing, Ear Pro. Yeah, if you leave electronic Ear Pro in the rain over the weekend, it doesn't work anymore. So don't do that. That being said, I wear them out in the rain all the time. No big deal. And that's fine. But yeah, I left these on the range, came back, and I was like, shit, there they are. They don't work anymore. Well, I guess they work, but they're no longer electronic. They're just analog now. So anyways, that's a bunch of shit I've broken. What stuff have you broken? I'd like to know that. Also, I'd like to do a video on some stuff that I'm like really happy with that hasn't broken yet, that has lasted a long time, that I highly recommend. But anyways, that's the video. You guys got any questions? Are there any videos you want to see? If you enjoyed this video, check out my gear at combatortraining.com. There's a link in the description. Also, if you're in Florida or you want to come to Florida, come take a class with us. If you haven't taken a class before, take Carry Pistol 1. That's one I want you to take. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Keep fighting communism. And remember that training saves lives.